Hey folks, hope you're doing good today. Now today we've got a new band to the channel. It's a one-man band as far as I can tell. It's a new band as well, just got this stuff together. And he's going to show us as well his debut stuff and let us get straight on board with this band as well. It's super dope. Like the band we had on last week where it was their debut single and they just wanted us to get straight on board with the band, start helping them out with some followers and things like that as well and talking about their music. I absolutely love it. When we get on board straight away with a band and their debut stuff, you know, if as long as they stick with the show, which some bands have, we've got to see them evolve. We've got to see them change and get better as they go along, especially when it's a one-man band like this is as well. Because when you're doing a one-man band, there's so much stuff to do, you're never going to be great at all of it straight away. So you just get better as things go on. You know, your drums get better, your mixes get better, all the rest of it. Now, I'm not sure if he's doing his own mixing and everything else as well. If you have a look on his page here, looks to be mainly a vocalist, doing a lot of vocal covers and stuff like that on his page. But somehow, for this album, I'm not quite sure how, he'll have to let us know. He's got all the music together as well, so he'll have to let us know. Is he working with other people for this, and that's how he's got the music together? Or has he done all that himself as well? We need to know that kind of stuff. But his name is James Finona. The track is called Finona as well. He says here it's Southern Orange County Metalcore. And it's not just, doesn't sound just like regular metalcore like you'd expect from all the bands coming out nowadays. Sounds like it's kind of, a bit more classic inspired. We'll have to see. The track that he's got for us today is called Daylight Saving, and if you see here, it's still unlisted because what he wants to do is for me to talk about this and be the first one to kind of check it out, talk about his music, and then he's going to try and use the video to help promote the track when he actually puts it out. So you'll have heard it here first. Sick! Now, he's only got 4 subscribers, and that includes me, so let's try and get him some more. Next time we have him on the show, we'll have a few more than 4, because no one deserves only 4 subscribers. This track today we're going to check out is called Daylight Saving, so let's give it a spin.
I don't know what I'm doing anymore. It just keeps getting harder and harder. The light is falling. Darkness rises ugly. Depression calling. The monster underneath my bed. How did I get here? Who even cares who I am? I know it's very clear. No one gives a damn.
A lot of effects on the vocal. Hear the bass, not see the mix.
Darkness rises ugly, depression calling. The monster underneath my bed. Right here, yeah. Until you bleed and cry. Right there, yeah. Until you think die. Right now, yeah. It's that you have to why, but I will stay with you until the feeling gone. Hey, you are gonna love. I understand you more than you know. From every bullet there to every word unspoken. Run to my bed. Tell me your words unspoken. Hey, you are gonna love. I understand you more than you know. From every bullet there to every word unspoken. Run to my bed. Tell me your words unspoken.
Some low notes in there. That's interesting. Whenever you have a one-man band, there's generally one thing that they're really good at, and then they're kind of trying to do the best they can with the rest of the stuff to make up the full band. And that's why I say there's loads of stuff to kind of get better at when you're a one-man band. There's always improvements to be made because there's so many things to put your hand to, and you're not going to be a sick guitarist, bassist, singer, drummer, all the rest of it all at once. But you can get better at those things as it all goes along, and you generally start out with one thing that you're good at, and then you're working on the rest of the things to get them up to the same level as the instrument or whatever it is you're playing. Now, generally it's a guitarist, because a lot of guitarists end up making a one-man band because they can play the guitar, which means you can play a bit of bass as well, because it's the same kind of thing. You can get your hand around some drums, and if you can do the vocals as well, then sick. You're basically a one-man band. It's interesting with this guy because he's obviously mainly the singer, and that's the bit in this music that has kind of shone above the rest of the stuff because that's what his main thing is. And it generally isn't, just a singer that's making a one-man band because, well, how are they going to do the music? And I still want to know how he's done the music in this one, whether he's worked with other people or not. But whatever the case is, the vocal in this one, you could really tell was his forte and the thing that he was the best at, because it was really great. It had a nice post-hardcore edge to it, emotional stuff in there, spoken word in there, but particularly as well the way that he'd recorded it and layered it up, because he had screams and shouts, he had spoken word bits layered in there with it as well, harmonies as well layered in there, and it just gave the vocal a thickness, a depth, and all those different edges to it, softness and shouting and screaming. So he knows what he's doing with the vocal, is what I'm saying there, and he did a great job. And I thought the music was really cool, but I do believe that it could sound better than it does currently. Now, if he's doing his own mixing and all the music as well, then, my tip for him on this one would be, what I'll do is I'll just get this quickly on the screen. I'll turn it down. But if you have a look down at the right there, you'll be able to see the stereo spectrum, and you can see that this stereo spectrum isn't very wide. It's pretty much, mostly down the middle. And what that basically tells me is that the track needs a bit more panning. Now, I'm not sure if I couldn't quite make out, because the guitars were quite muddy, whether he'd panned 2 layers of guitar out or whether it was just 1 layer of guitar down the middle. If it was 1 layer of guitar down the middle, what you need to do is get 2 layers of guitar and pan them to either side. And what that'll do is it will just give you a width to the mix, stretch it out more, make it sound wider and thicker and chunkier, but also give the guitars a nice solid prominence within the mix. Because they're panned to either side, they're not going to clash with the drums and the bass and the vocal and everything. It just gives them their own space within the mix. Because one thing I think that this track was lacking, considering it is kind of post-hardcore, metalcore, is a thick, chunky guitar, because that is kind of an absolute must in metalcore music, because you just need that thick guitar. Now, I like that there was extra stuff in there as well, synthy sections and stuff. Again, it gave me that kind of mid to late 2000s post-hardcore scene, when there was, it was kind of MySpace scene as well, where you had people starting to bring in synths and dancey elements into their metalcore. I always thought it was cool, and you don't hear it as much nowadays. It's moved on, let's say, but yeah, it reminded me of those kind of bands, and that kind of era has been lost now. So I like to hear it every now and again. It's cool. So I think this guy's going nicely. I want to keep hearing his music and stick on board, particularly because he's a one-man band as well. And I absolutely love one-man bands on this channel, purely because you just see so much evolution and, personal kind of gain from it all. You just see people, evolve with their music as a musician and as a one-man band. All the other elements of the music start to get better as well. Their mixes get better. And there's a bunch of people that we've followed where now, 2 years down the line, they're really in a very cool place compared to where they started out. And it's absolutely dope to see it. I love it. So stick with the show, James, and we'll keep checking out your music and everything else. But all the best with this one and starting out on your journey as a one-man band. Love to see it. And it's only just going to get more better from here. That's all I can say. Hope you had a good one today, guys. That's what I've got for you today. If you want to get your band on the channel, we can still get you on this week if you head over to the website and skip the queue. Otherwise, I'm going to be pulling out free bands again this week. I promise I'm not going to be putting out any progressive tech death and mathcore for the rest of this week. We did enough of that last week, so I'll try and pull out some more chunky and heavy, chuggy bands this week so we get a nice bop on. There you go. That's what I've got for you today. We'll see you around, guys. Have a good one. Cheers. Bye.